In the world of coins, some stories seem almost too incredible to believe, yet they are true and inspire collectors and dreamers alike. One such story revolves around the 1981 United States one-dime coin error, a coin so small and ordinary at first glance that millions of people have handled one without thinking twice, never realizing that within its design could be a mistake worth more than they could ever imagine. To think that a dime, a coin worth just 10 cents, could hold a hidden secret powerful enough to turn it into a treasure valued between $50,000 and $130,000 is a story that captivates everyone who hears it. The 1981 dime error is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of luck, discovery, and the thrill of finding something priceless in the most ordinary of places. The dime has long been one of the most familiar coins in American currency. By 1981, the design of the Roosevelt dime had already been a fixture for decades. First issued in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt after his passing. The obverse bore his dignified portrait, designed by John R. Sinek, while the reverse featured a torch flanked by olive and oak branches, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. It was a design every American knew well, so familiar that people barely noticed it anymore as it passed through their hands. But that familiarity is exactly what makes error coins so remarkable. Because when something looks wrong, when a detail is doubled, misplaced, or struck in an unusual way, the difference jumps out to a careful eye, and suddenly that ordinary dime becomes something extraordinary. The minting process in 1981, like in any other year, involved massive machinery striking millions of planchets to produce dimes for circulation. The process is designed to ensure precision, but no system is flawless. Errors happen, and in the world of coin collecting, those errors are gold, or in this case, silver-colored treasure. Some of the most valuable 1981 dime errors include double die obverse, off-center strikes, broad strikes without a collar, and even wrong planchet errors where the dime was mistakenly struck on a blank intended for another denomination. Each of these mistakes transforms the coin from a common 10-cent piece into a rare collectible worth tens of thousands of dollars. Imagine someone in 1981 reaching into their pocket for change to buy a coffee. Among the coins is a dime, nothing unusual about it. It changes hands again and again, moving through grocery stores, gas stations, and vending machines. Years pass, and the dime is tossed into a jar, forgotten in a drawer, or passed down in a small coin collection. Then one day, someone finally looks at it closely, maybe under a magnifying glass, and realizes that the date or lettering is doubled, or that the strike is off-center. That moment of discovery is like lightning, the realization that the coin in their hand isn't worth 10 cents at all. It could be worth $50,000, maybe even $130,000 if it is well-preserved and authenticated. The excitement of such a discovery is almost indescribable, a sudden transformation of something small and mundane into something life-changing. The auction houses know this excitement well. When a 1981 dime error appears for sale, collectors and investors flock to the bidding. These coins are so rare that bidding wars erupt quickly, driving the price higher and higher. The auctioneer describes the coin in glowing detail, pointing out the error that makes it unique and reminding everyone of its pristine condition. The opening bids start modestly, but soon the numbers climb. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. The crowd grows tense as the figure hits 50,000, then pushes higher still. At last, after an intense battle between determined bidders, the gavel falls. The final price? $130,000. Applause fills the room, and the new owner leaves not just with a coin, but with a piece of history, a story to tell, and an investment unlike any other. What makes this story so powerful is the reminder that treasures still exist in plain sight. Most of us think of wealth as hidden away in vaults or behind locked doors. But the truth is, sometimes it jingles in our pockets without us even realizing it. A 1981 dime error is rare, but it is out there, and that possibility fuels the dreams of coin collectors everywhere. The idea that something so small could hold so much value is almost magical. It's not just about the money, though the numbers are staggering. It's about the thrill of discovery, the joy of holding something rare, and the connection to history that comes with it. Every collector knows that errors tell a story. They are accidents of history, born out of mistakes that slipped past even the strict controls of the U.S. Mint. In a world where perfection is expected, these imperfections are the things that become priceless. The 1981 dime error is a perfect example of this. It is not just metal and design. It is a story about human error, about chance, and about how the smallest details can make the biggest difference. Collectors see in these coins not just value, but meaning. They see the unpredictability of life, the beauty of imperfection, and the possibility that something small can still change everything. There are countless personal stories tied to coins like this. Someone cleaning out a parent's belongings finds a small tin of coins and discovers one of these rare dimes. A child searching through their piggy bank spots a strange detail on a coin and later learns it is worth tens of thousands of dollars. Stories like these are passed around collector communities like legends, and they inspire others to look more closely at the coins in their possession. Because for every story of discovery, there could be another waiting to happen. Think for a moment about the journey of one such coin. Struck in 1981 with its hidden error, it leaves the mint without anyone noticing. It enters circulation, passed hand to hand for years, its secret invisible to the untrained eye. It rides in pockets, drops into cash registers, and sits in change jars. For decades it remains hidden, waiting. Then, one day, the right person notices. They see what others have missed, and in that moment, the coin is transformed. It is no longer just a dime. It is a treasure worth $50,000, maybe even $130,000. That story is what gives these coins their magic. The 1981 dime error serves as a reminder that extraordinary things often hide in ordinary places. It shows us that treasures are still out there, waiting for those who care enough to look. And it reminds us that in a world chasing perfection, sometimes it is the flaws, the mistakes, that make something truly priceless. So the next time you hold a dime in your hand, take a closer look. Examine the date, the lettering, the strike. Because you never know. That small silver-colored coin might not just be worth 10 cents. It might be one of the rare 1981 error dimes. A coin that could bring you $50,000, $80,000, maybe even $130,000. And that discovery could turn an ordinary moment into the story of a lifetime. The 1990 United States one-dime coin error is a story that captures the imagination of both serious collectors and ordinary people who have never thought twice about the loose change they carry in their pockets. Most of us see a dime as something almost too small to pay attention to, a coin worth just 10 cents, often overlooked in favor of quarters or dollar bills. But in the world of rare coins, even the smallest denomination can turn into a fortune if something unusual happened during its minting. That's exactly what occurred in 1990, when a small number of dimes left the United States Mint carrying errors that turned them into incredibly valuable collectibles. Instead of being worth a simple 10 cents, these error dimes have sold for staggering amounts, with some examples fetching as much as $43,000 on the low end and climbing up to $120,000 for the finest and most dramatic specimens. That kind of leap in value from pocket change to life-changing sums is what makes this coin such a captivating story. The 1990 dime continued the long-running design featuring Franklin D. Roosevelt, first introduced in 1946 after the president's death. By that year, the design was already a familiar part of daily life for Americans. On the obverse sits Roosevelt's portrait, with the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, the date, and the mint mark if present. On the reverse, a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch stand as symbols of freedom, peace, and strength. Millions upon millions of these coins were struck in 1990, and for almost everyone, they were indistinguishable from the dimes in their pockets today. But hidden among those ordinary strikes were errors, mistakes born from the minting process, and those mistakes are what transformed a dime worth 10 cents into a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. Coin errors can take many forms, and the 1990 Roosevelt dime demonstrates this in dramatic fashion. Some examples were struck off-center, where the portrait of Roosevelt appears shifted, leaving blank crescent-shaped areas on the coin's surface. Others feature doubling, a striking error where inscriptions such as Liberty or In God We Trust appear twice, slightly overlapped, creating a ghostly shadow effect that immediately catches the eye. Then there are wrong planchet errors, where the design of a dime ended up struck on the blank of another coin entirely, such as a cent or a foreign planchet. These oddities make the coin look strange the moment you hold it in your hand, often lighter or heavier than expected, and instantly recognizable as something unusual. Each of these errors represents a failure of machinery, but paradoxically, each failure made these particular coins priceless to collectors. Collectors seek these errors because they stand out in a sea of sameness. While billions of coins are struck to be identical, it is the one or two that are not identical that become valuable. In the case of the 1990 dime error, the rarity of these mistakes combined with the quality of the errors created a perfect storm of desirability. When these coins show up in auctions, collectors rush to bid, knowing that they may never see another one like it. That urgency, combined with the beauty of the errors themselves, pushes prices into astonishing territory. This is how we see auction results of $43,000 for some specimens, with the best preserved and most dramatic reaching $120,000. Imagine that for a moment. A coin that should buy you nothing more than a small piece of candy suddenly becomes a ticket to a brand new car or even a down payment on a home. That's the kind of discovery that changes the way people think about the coins in their change jars or the rolls of dimes they might pick up at the bank. It reminds people that even in the modern age, when the minting process is highly sophisticated, mistakes can still happen, and those mistakes can create opportunities for extraordinary value. One of the most famous aspects of the 1990 dime is how easily it can go unnoticed. Unlike gold coins or large silver dollars, the dime is so small and common that most people ignore it entirely. That makes the thought of one being worth $120,000 even more electrifying. It means that somewhere in circulation, or tucked away in someone's drawer, there could be a fortune hiding in plain sight. This is what fuels the excitement of coin collecting, not just the pursuit of history or artistry, but the very real chance of discovering life-changing wealth in something as ordinary as a dime. The story of these 1990 error dimes also tells us something important about value itself. It reminds us that rarity, uniqueness, and demand are the true drivers of worth. A coin is struck by the millions, yet one small error transforms it into something unique. That uniqueness makes it desirable, and that desire drives the bidding wars that create record-setting prices. Collectors want to own something no one else has, and when it comes to coins, errors provide exactly that. They are accidents of history, preserved forever in metal, and they tell the story of the minting process in ways that perfect coins cannot. Auction houses that have offered these coins describe the excitement that surrounds them. When the bidding begins, the atmosphere is electric. Everyone in the room knows they are competing for something incredibly rare, and as the numbers climb higher, the tension rises. To witness a dime, worth 10 cents on its face, sell for $120,000 is to witness the collision of passion, rarity, and value. It is moments like these that make the world of numismatics so compelling, and it is why collectors continue to chase these elusive treasures. What makes the 1990 dime even more fascinating is that it belongs to the modern era. Many rare coins come from the 19th century or earlier, and while those are thrilling in their own right, they feel distant from everyday life. The 1990 dime, however, is recent enough that many people alive today remember using coins from that very year. That nearness makes the possibility of finding one seem all the more real. It is not some ancient artifact hidden away in a museum, but a modern coin that could be sitting in circulation, waiting to be discovered. For anyone who hears the story, the takeaway is simple. Never ignore the smallest things. A dime is easy to dismiss, but as the 1990 error coins prove, it can also carry unimaginable value. Look closely at the coins that pass through your hands. Pay attention to the details. Is the strike centered? Do the inscriptions look doubled? Does the coin feel lighter or heavier than it should? Those small signs could point to something extraordinary, something that turns a 10-cent coin into a six-figure treasure. The 1990 United States one-dime coin error will always hold a special place in numismatic history. It is a reminder that perfection is not always what we value most. Sometimes it is the mistakes, the flaws that capture our imagination and our wallets. And for those who continue to search, the dream remains alive. Because out there, perhaps in a roll of dimes at your local bank or in a forgotten coin jar, there could be one of these rare treasures waiting to be found. If discovered, it could transform your life, with prices ranging from $43,000 all the way up to $120,000. That is the power of rarity, and that is why the 1990 dime era continues to inspire collectors and dreamers alike. The 2003 United States one-dime coin may seem like just another small piece of change, the kind of coin that people toss into their car cup holders, leave rattling in their pockets, or drop absent-mindedly into a tip jar. To most, a dime is nothing more than 10 cents, almost too small to carry any real weight in today's world. Yet for collectors and numismatists, the 2003 dime tells a completely different story, one that is filled with intrigue, surprise, and extraordinary value. Hidden within that tiny coin are errors, mistakes from the US Mint that slipped into circulation and transformed an everyday dime into a rarity worth a fortune. These error coins have captured the attention of collectors across the country, with some examples fetching anywhere between $40,000 and $110,000 depending on their type and condition. To appreciate the story of the 2003 dime error, you have to understand its context. The dime has long been associated with Franklin D. Roosevelt, the nation's 32nd president. His portrait first appeared on the dime in 1946, shortly after his passing, to honor his leadership through the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his connection to the March of Dimes campaign. On the obverse, Roosevelt's dignified profile represents resilience and strength, while the reverse shows a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and victory. By 2003, this design was already a familiar part of American life, and billions of these copper-nickel-clad dimes had been minted, blending together in uniformity. But within that ocean of sameness, a few coins emerged with mistakes that forever set them apart. Error coins are anomalies, rare products of a minting process that, while highly precise, is still not immune to flaws. The 2003 dime errors range from minor to dramatic, but each has a story worth telling. Off-center strikes are among the most noticeable, where the design is shifted away from the center, leaving part of the coin blank. Some coins display double strikes, where Roosevelt's face or the inscriptions appear to have been stamped twice, giving the design a ghostly layered effect. Others involve wrong planchet errors, where the dime was struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, resulting in coins that are physically distinct and highly prized. Even smaller mistakes, such as die cracks or misaligned dies, can create unique features that turn an otherwise ordinary coin into a rarity. Think for a moment about how such a coin would be discovered. Picture someone in 2003 paying for groceries, fishing a handful of change from their pocket, and noticing a dime that just doesn't look right. Maybe the profile of Roosevelt leans toward the edge of the coin, or the torch on the reverse seems incomplete. They might slip it into a jar, unsure of its significance. Years later, with knowledge of the market for error coins, they pull it back out and realize that the little dime they almost overlooked is worth tens of thousands of dollars. This story of discovery is what fuels the passion of collectors. The thrill lies not just in owning a valuable coin but in the journey of finding it, often in the most unexpected places. The financial side of the 2003 dime error is staggering and adds to the excitement. A coin intended to be worth just 10 cents can suddenly leap into a value range of $40,000 to $110,000. For perspective, that's enough to buy a luxury vehicle, take a once-in-a-lifetime trip around the world, or even put a significant down payment on a house. The sheer contrast between the dime's face value and its collector value is part of what makes these error coins so irresistible. It sparks the imagination, leading people everywhere to wonder whether the change rattling in their pockets might hold a hidden fortune. But beyond the money, the 2003 dime error holds meaning. Coins are not just metal. They are symbols of history, of culture, and of national identity. Roosevelt's portrait stands as a reminder of strength in adversity, while the torch and branches on the reverse symbolize ideals that endure. When an error occurs on such a coin, it creates a paradox. A piece meant to represent consistency and order suddenly becomes unique through imperfection. For collectors, this is deeply symbolic. It is a reminder that even the smallest flaws can give rise to extraordinary value. Auction houses and coin shows have played a crucial role in highlighting the 2003 dime error. Collectors who come across one often consign it to be sold at prestigious auctions, where bidding wars erupt as enthusiasts compete for ownership. Each sale strengthens the coin's reputation and solidifies its place among the most fascinating modern error coins. The rarity ensures that prices remain strong, and as awareness grows, so does demand. Collectors describe owning one as not just an investment but also a badge of honor, proof of having acquired something so rare that few others will ever hold it in their hands. What's especially captivating about the 2003 dime error is its accessibility. Unlike commemorative or special issue coins that are produced in limited numbers and sold directly to collectors, error coins enter circulation without fanfare. They are mixed into the change we use every day, quietly waiting to be discovered. This creates a sense of possibility for everyone. You don't need to be a seasoned numismatist to stumble upon one. All it takes is curiosity and attention to detail. That sense of democratic possibility, the idea that anyone could find a fortune in their pocket change, is what keeps the excitement alive. Collectors often describe their search for error coins as addictive. They hunt through rolls of dimes, carefully inspect their pocket change, and attend shows where they can compare notes with others. Every coin examined carries the potential of discovery, and when a rare error is finally found, the rush of excitement is indescribable. The 2003 dime error has fueled this passion, creating a community of people who share stories of discovery and inspire others to keep searching. The enduring lesson of the 2003 dime error is that value often hides in the most unexpected places. What looks ordinary at first glance may carry within it something extraordinary. The tiny imperfections on these coins, the very mistakes that should have marked them as failures, instead elevated them to treasures worth as much as $110,000. This transformation is both ironic and poetic, a reminder that rarity and value often emerge not from perfection, but from imperfection. So the next time you encounter a dime, especially one dated 2003, don't dismiss it as just another coin. Take a closer look at the details, examine the design, and ask yourself whether it might carry a hidden story. Because within that 10-cent piece could lie an error that changes everything. It could be a piece of minting history, a rarity that collectors crave, and a treasure valued anywhere from $40,000 to $110,000. And perhaps, if luck is on your side, that little coin in your hand could be the one that reminds you just how much greatness can be found in the smallest of places.